My name is Zach Comeau, and you're listening to the My TechDecisions Podcast. Folks, welcome back to the My TechDecisions Podcast. Like I said, my name is Zach, and I'm your host. Today's episode is about the digital signage industry and how new products are being designed to fit very specific use cases and help IT professionals better manage and deliver content. To talk about this is Ben Hardy, a senior product manager at Sharp NEC Display Solutions. Ben and I talk about how digital signage is evolving to meet the demands of the market and how the company's new MultiSync message series of displays can give organizations the flexibility they need when it comes to digital displays. Before we get to Ben, here's a quick reminder that the My TechDecisions Podcast is available on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Download and subscribe to hear weekly interviews with technology experts that can help you make the right decisions for your organization. And now here's Ben Hardy.
Sounds good.
Ben, how has the digital signage market evolved over the last few years?
Oh, man. That's a big question. So digital signage market as a whole, it's really changed a lot based on, I think, application mainly. We've found that just through market data, through research and stuff like that, there's really become a separation in between like what is considered more of a presentation type of device and what is considered more so a public display. And obviously those kind of presentation corporate based devices are going to be different and they're going to be designed differently. They're going to have different applications, different target markets and stuff like that for really what solution they're trying to provide to whoever the customer is. Corporate based or presentation based displays. I mean, that's like, a front room presentation device, control room type of screens, educational products, huddle spaces, interactive boardrooms, stuff like that. Whereas public displays, you can sort of dig a bit deeper there and talk about when a screen is used for advertising purposes, for example. So when it's used as a form of visual marketing communication to promote or sell a product. Retail branding, sales boards in restaurants, stuff like that. Or kind of another step, side step would be if it's used for entertainment purposes. We find that a lot of customers, they don't necessarily just want to buy a TV and stick it in a bar because there's long run times and stuff like that, or stick it in a restaurant, the bigger restaurants where they're using TVs. March Madness is going on right now, right? So there's a lot of, granted things are closed down, but if this was a more normal year, places would be packed. There'd be a lot of games that were going on, and we're finding that a lot of times screens are also being used for entertainment purposes. That's sort of another type of application, or really informational. So when a display is used to kind of deliver certain types of critical content. So think of like an airport. Think of command and control. Stuff like that. Financial tickers, QSR menu boards, things like that. So there's really more sort of segmentation between what the screen is really going into. And then kind of on top of that, we've seen many more, in particular over the past few years, kind of blurred lines between sort of previous segmentation of what public displays kind of were defined as before to kind of where they're defined as now. Whereas, I've been in the industry now for almost 12 years. And when I started, there was kind of like one type of like new digital signage product. Digital signage and commercial displays were kind of just kind of getting their feet under them still. They were around, but they really hadn't boomed yet. And so there were digital signage products, and those were like the 700 nit, 24/7, over-engineered, all the bells and whistles types of products. Since then, obviously, things have evolved a lot. There was a segment, or a time segment, let's say, maybe 5 years ago, where there was kind of lines drawn in the sand between what was entry and what was kind of mainstream and what was professional. And that even more so now has kind of merged a bit more into just this general mainstream type of segment in the market, and that in turn really takes up the most volume. The volume in the market because it's broad. I mean, there's different types of mainstream products, and they can be positioned for different types of applications based on the customer's sort of needs and wants. So I mean, it's short answer, it's very much evolved. Long-winded answer is kind of what I just went through. It really depends on where it's going into, what it's being used for, what the customer needs, and so forth.
Now, how are those needs of customers changing, and how is digital signage becoming more flexible as a result?
So I honestly think that I think that customers are becoming more aware and more educated of what's out there. I don't necessarily think their needs are changing, but I think that product development as a whole has changed more so to meet their needs. So it's not like quality has really changed in the marketplace. There's still a kind of defined line between, or I guess a big difference between putting a TV on a wall and then putting a commercial display on a wall. But I think that from a customer's perspective, like I said, their technical acumen on what the digital signage products are that are in the market based on their particular application is what's changing most. So, I mean, like I said, and I don't mean to go back to it, but back 12 years ago, there was one type of commercial display. It was this, big type of commercial display. You get it, you put it on the wall, and it lasts forever. But there was a big price point for that. And obviously ASPs are changing, expectations are changing for price points and things like that. And, we as a manufacturer obviously have to adapt our plans, and we have to kind of evolve our new product lines to be able to fit those focused new changing needs of the market based on the customer. So, I mean, not every product needs to run 24/7. Not every product needs to support portrait capabilities. Not every product needs 8 different inputs. No one's really always using all of that. So, in particular for this new product line that we've been developing, we really took a lot of the feedback and we took a lot of the knowledge that we've been seeing and that we've been hearing from in the market and developed a product line that I think fits those needs pretty appropriately now. Because like I said, the mainstream segment is broad. And so what we've gone ahead and done is we've kind of created a more so tiered type of approach where, if you need checkbox A, B, and C, then this product's good. If you need checkbox A, B, C, and D, then, then you're gonna have to go to this product. And if you need more than that, we got another product for that too. So, I don't know if customer needs have really changed. I think customers are getting more clever. I think that they're finding new ways to display content. And that being said, we have also had to adapt for that type of purpose as well. I believe that you actually did a podcast with some colleagues of mine previously based on Intel SDM, and that's another evolution and from OPS what we kind of previously had before. And our sort of stance at NEC is to always give the customer the modularity type of approach, so that if they do have a particular installation or a product need that the base product may not fulfill, we want to sort of empower the customer to allow them to sort of add different peripherals to really make their product a solution. And that's kind of, I'm not going to dig into SDM. I know you've talked about that ad nauseum with some of my colleagues, but that's kind of the basis of that as well.
So I'm assuming you're mentioning or you're referencing the MultiSync message series. So let's get into that. Can you tell us about it and what new products are in that new group of or the new series?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been doing a lot of product development over the last, like I said, like 2.5, 3 years. When we've sort of seen a lot of these changes occur, and we've kind of recognized that customer needs are changing. They aren't necessarily, we kind of I don't want to say we over engineer, but we put a lot of engineering into our displays. And there's features, functions, and stuff like that may not ever get used. And so what we wanted to do is we kind of wanted to separate what is needed, what's necessary for a majority of installations, and then what isn't. And so we wanted to focus on really what the customer needs most, what's most important to them, and then we wanted to build a series of products kind of around that. And so what we've ended up with now is, like I said before, a kind of a tiered product approach in what we're calling the message series, but really encapsulates that mainstream type of segment that I talked about before. And that's going to be the ME series, which is kind of the message series essential. The M series, which would be a step up from there, which is really the message series kind of mainstream, and then the MA series, which is the message series advanced. And throughout the entire process, we wanted to also stay true to who NEC is and what NEC is known for. So I like to talk about sort of pillars of design, kind of main type of points to always focus on through the design process. And in all three of those, if there was, let's say, 3 pillars each or so, in all three of those, it was maintaining reliability. So maintaining the reliability that NEC is known for, while also for the ME series, making sure it's cost conscious and commercial, and check some boxes that are really necessary, like, full external control and portrait orientation and full metal chassis and stuff like that. Whereas the M series, that reliability, of course, is something to maintain, but that's where it gets a bit more professional. That's where you need to have like 24/7 capabilities or high haze panels. That's a thing that's high haze is more of a, it's like when the display panel has more of a matte type of finish. And then therefore it's not going to necessarily reflect all of the incidental or ambient light, so that you can't see the image on your screen. It's going to scatter it, because obviously if you're just seeing your own reflection in a display, what's the point of having a display up there in the first place? You're not really getting your message across. And then above that would be the advanced, and that's where we have features such as like MST, daisy chains, multi-stream transport. We have 8K support through this line. They're all 4K products. We have 8K support through this line through DP 1.4, HDMI daisy chain, multi-picture mode, which means that you can have multiple simultaneous images on the display at once. So we're kind of you can have sort of a quad type of display type of thing going in there if you have a command and control application or something like that. But that's more of the advanced, professional, and reliable, again, I would say, for those types of pillars of design. So we wanted to maintain, like I said, the reliability, and then kind of give almost a step up and step down approach. And then the customer themselves could kind of pick and choose based on, what their needs are. Not everything, is going to need daisy chain, or I didn't mention, but wide color gamut in our MA series. Not everybody's going to need what we have is called our Spectre View engine, which is basically our color critical. It's our color critical chipset that's within the product that allows ultimate adjustability. Like, not everyone needs that, and so we don't need to put that in every product. And so that's kind of what that's for. Not everyone needs 24/7, and that's sort of that middle tier if they do, but they don't need all the bells and whistles. Some people just want a screen on the wall. They want to be able to schedule it. They want to be able to control it. They want to be able to talk to it from an external location, and they want it to stay up and to look good. That's where that low end would be. So, that's really the message series. Kind of taking a step back. I mean, they're all. I kind of talked a bit more positioning there, but they're all 4K products, really 43-inch up to 65-inch for the M and the M series, 43-inch up to 55-inch for the MA series. All of them can do landscape portrait. All of them have full external control system compatibility. All have full metal chassis. So it gives them more of that sort of robust, true commercial type of feel, as opposed to some, cheaper composite or PVC type of build or something like that. The M series and the MA series are 24/7. They have the integrated fans. So we have, our lifeblood is really to make sure that your NEC products on the wall are going to stay how they're going to maintain, and they're going to keep the image that you want up there for a long period of time. So we do have integrated temperature sensors that are really connected to thermodynamic fans, and that's an automatic type of process in the M and the MA series. If a product were to ever get a little bit too hot, you can have the screens automatically send out an email to IT director, whoever it is that's managing the network. And also, instead of some competitive screens out there that don't necessarily have an active type of cooling active type of cooling system within their products, if it gets too hot in our products, our fans will turn on. It'll suck that hot air out of there. Whereas the only other way to lower the BTU count and therefore the heat is to, in other series, would be to lower the brightness. And then you're just taking away from the image entirely, which is not what we want to do. So we still do have a bit of that over engineering into our 24/7 products because we have to, like I said, that's kind of our lifeblood. That's that reliability right there. Sorry about that. Something just, all right.
What applications were these displays designed for?
Oh man, applications are very broad. If we're going to be just talking about the message series as a whole, like I said, there's that sort of distinction between presentation focused and digital signage focused. These were developed with digital signage type of focus in mind to start. But there's all different types of applications, whether it's for advertising, entertainment, or informational. The higher end stuff would really be more so. So the MA series would really be more so for the QSR type of menu boards, the financial tickers. If there's ever high end retail, because you can take advantage of that wide color gamut, you can take advantage of really our SpectraView engine technology that allows you to really get your colors where they need to be from an advertising perspective or from a branding perspective. The M series, which is kind of the step down from there, which is still 24/7, that's really good for like higher education hallways, corporate signage, stuff like that, where you need 24/7 functionality, where you're going to maybe battle some incidental light and you want to make sure that your image is always crisp and clear and clean. And then the ME series is really kind of mainly everything else. It could fit into a lot of places because that is our cost-conscious type of product. It could fit into K-12. It could fit into House of Worship. It can fit into really some of these other verticals where they just really want a screen on the wall to show promotional boards or something like that. So it's really collectively across the entire message series product line. It really could fit into just about any signage-based application. And that's what we designed it for. Instead of trying to push every little feature that we've ever had or we've ever designed or that's new into one product and then kind of price us out for certain verticals, we wanted to have this step up, step down approach that allows you to, pick your product based on your needs. And, on top of that, all of these products, they do have that modularity, which is the SDM and the Raspberry Pi compute module. So there's a kind of clever type of electrical mechanical design where we have a slot on the side of each of the units where you can house either an SDMS and a Raspberry Pi compute module, or kind of take out the middle piece there and you could put an SDML there. So we do give you that modularity for each of the product lines then in case you want to incorporate, any of the Intel-based PCs or anything like that are in that SDM form factor, SDI, HDBaseT, ATSC, NTSC tuner. But on top of that, we're looking into other types of peripherals like SMPTE 2110, NDI, things like that. And I know that Chris and George, I believe it was, previously talked about this and how they use SDM is really the evolution of OPS because, it gives us larger bandwidth capabilities, uses PCIe Express, meaning it's kind of easier to design to and so forth. So we do give that flexibility for all three of these lines as well.
Great. So how do these fit into the overall NEC portfolio?
Yeah, wow. So it actually it kind of takes over a big chunk of our current portfolio. So we've had our, and I'm going to say smaller format, but I mean sort of smaller size, large format for us, which is 32 inch and above. But in particular here, we're talking about 32 to 65 inch. We've had our CE and our V series for quite some time. And so those are essentially going to be transitioning to this ME, M, or MA. So we have kind of two lines that are going to be merging, or I guess separating into kind of three different lines. It allowed us to kind of bridge some gaps that we, quite frankly, had in our lineup, mainly on the lower end where, we had customers that wanted to run a simple screen and portrait, but we couldn't necessarily support that with our lowest end product. And then sometimes from our end, we'd kind of come out of the box swinging a bit too high from what the customer was expecting to pay for something like that with our older C series. So Yeah, so this is gonna take over a big portion of really our mainstream, or sorry, our main our main product lineup that would fit into that mainstream segment. And it does contain obviously the 55-inch panel size, which is the biggest panel size, not the biggest, but the most volume driving panel size in the market. So that does contain that for all three of these product lines too. And then we know that 49 and 43 and 65 is also huge, and the others are growing. So it's a big portion, and we expect to do really great things with this new product line, and hopefully better position ourselves and better position our customers, and really also give them and make sure that they also know that all these products have that maintained NEC reliability.
Yeah, so our audience is IT guys, IT managers, CIOs, etc. So how does this kind of take the burden off of their shoulders when they're looking for the right digital display for whatever project they have going on?
Yeah. So that was also a focus for all of these lines, is that we wanted to be able to empower sort of IT managers and the IT crowd to be able to communicate to these devices basically as if they're talking or they're standing right there with their remote control. And because obviously you're not going to be in front of every single display, but anything you can essentially do from the remote control you can do externally now. Just based on our hex commands over TCP/IP communication or RS-232, whatever they're running. Most of these IT managers obviously is going to be TCP/IP, but it's going to be full feedback as far as how the commands go. So you can ping each display every 5 seconds if you want to say, hey, are you on? It's going to come back and say, yeah, I'm on. All good. Don't worry about it. So we wanted to make sure that that robustness was still built into all of our product lines, so that really the IT crowd and IT management or IT managers would be able to really keep tabs on all of these products throughout their IT infrastructure. So all of that, MEM, MA, and then every product really beyond that, beyond our message series, has that type of capability.
And when are these available?
So that's a great question. So we've actually announced the entire product line back on 3/1. So these products are going to be hitting the shores here over the next couple months. Like I said, ME, M, and MA all really start at 43-inch. The ME and the M go up to 65, and the MA then has 43, 49, and 55, which really is a majority of the sizes that are needed in the market for these digital signage types of installations. So we're getting real excited for them to hit the shores and hear the feedback, because we've, like I said, done a lot of behind the scenes development on these, and then I believe that we came out with a really strong product line here.
Great. Ben, thanks very much. We appreciate your time.
Cool. Thanks. Anytime, Zach. Good talking to you. Good seeing you.
You as well. Thanks for listening to another episode of the My TechDecisions Podcast, where it's our mission to help you make technology decisions for your company. If you would like to learn more, head to mytechdecisions.com or follow us on Twitter at MyTechDecisions. You can also follow me on Twitter at ZW Comeau. Until next time.